Hello, good evening. Hello, friends. How are you today? Happy Thursday. Today, I want to talk about calming down, regulating your nervous system without eating, and why it's important, and why not being able to calm down is actually anti-productive in terms of your weight loss, right? If most of you who are here in this group probably want weight loss, right? This is a plant-based weight loss group. Most of you probably want weight loss, but as I've experienced over the last week, and as per quite a lot of my clients have experienced the last couple of weeks, life's just been a little bit chaotic. And I get that, I understand that. So I thought I'd come on and give you guys some tips and a little bit of help with what's been working for me. Sorry, my cat's just trying to. Can you please leave? Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, what's been working for me to help regulate myself, how my clients have been regulating themselves as well without having to use food. Thank you. Without having to use food to calm down and to wind down. It's so easy to use food when it's so readily available. It's probably been a coping mechanism for so long and so many years, which is perfectly normal. So I apologize if the video is a bit different today. I always forget that Facebook has recently changed their rules and I have to go live on my phone, so I can't see anything, but please type in hello or just type in live if you're watching this on live. I don't know if I can see any comments on here, so please can someone say something so I know that this is all working and that we are good to go. So first of all, if you are watching this, it is highly likely that stress is kind of taking a huge part of your life right now. So I want you to just take a moment with me and take a breath, because I guarantee you, if life has been very chaotic, it's very, very unlikely that you have given yourself a moment to just breathe. So do this with me now. Just take a nice big cleansing deep breath in through the nose and exhaling all the way out, releasing all of your worries and stress. A nice cleansing breath in, pause, and then let it all out. And one more, all the way in to the top of your lungs. Fill up, and all out. Let it all out. Let it all go. Well done. Life's been crazy. Life's been chaotic. And like I said, I guarantee you, if you're in this group, there's a high chance that you're probably going to want to be losing weight. Now, unfortunately, when life is a little bit crazy and chaotic, it's one, not only hard to lose weight, but two, you are fighting a losing battle. You see, your body has two kind of an on and off switch. It has the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, when the parasympathetic nervous system is switched on, this is the optimal place for digestion and healing and relaxation. So peace and calm. When that is not on, the other one is on. So it's either one on or one off. It can't be both on at the same time. So when we're not in our healing state and we are in our stressed state, this is our fight or flight mode. This is activated from even little things like getting caught in traffic, answering endless emails that just keep popping up. Maybe your boss yells at you and so you're feeling really stressed. These simple things. Maybe the cat threw up on the carpet. Thanks, babe, for cleaning that up this morning. I appreciate you. Whatever they are, these things can be incredibly stressful. However, it's going to feel absolutely impossible to lose weight if you are in this state. So how do we calm the fuck down amidst all of this chaos, right? So we can make the environment much easier for us to lose weight, make it much more simple for ourselves. A perfect example of what I've done with a client before is she was experiencing a lot of bloat, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. She was really struggling with her energy, completely flatline energy. And what we would able to do is just slip in some tools here and there, and some things I'm going to teach you today, some things I didn't even teach her. But we were just slipping in a couple of tools in times where she had a moment, right? So it wasn't this massive task. I'm not going to tell you guys to go and take a nice big bubble bath and paint your nails, because that's not realistic time wise, and that's not what she had. She didn't have that time. So what we were doing was implementing these little tools without any, that didn't really take up much time, no longer than 2 minutes, right? And we implemented these in places where she had these 2 minute pockets. From implementing them, from reducing her stress, just using these little tools by managing her stress, calming down, regulating her nervous system, she was able to completely eradicate all of the IBS and the bloating symptoms. From that, she was having much more food and joy and pleasure with food, sorry. She was experiencing life a lot easier, a lot happier. She was feeling a lot more joy in her life, and she was able to do a lot more, be more present and be more involved with her child. And that's just by slipping in a tool into a little pocket of time that she had. It's not about creating time. Yes, we can create time by managing our stress. But for her, it was more about putting something in place that didn't take up extra time. So managing your stress, calming the fuck down, and not using food to regulate your nervous system doesn't have to be time consuming. It doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be stressful. It just has to be regular, because if we're not preventing it, we're now trying to get rid of it. So you've probably heard the saying, prevention is better than a cure. And this goes 100%. This rings 100% true. Again, especially if you're trying to lose weight, making sure we don't get to the stage where we are really struggling, really drowning, until we start paying attention to our weight and our health. Now, we all know that, or most of us know, that stress, when dealt with, even a chronic low level of stress, can significantly impact our overall health, our longevity, and our short-term health. It can increase risk of heart attacks and heart disease. But of course, if we are coping with food, then of course we've got the health implications of overconsumption, consuming too much fat, oil, junk food, maybe late at night, or even just when you get home from work before the kids come home and raiding through the cupboard, the pantry door. So, as we know, it's going to be very important to calm down, but how can we calm down? Okay, so I've got some tips for you, which is under my laptop. Oh my god, if you could see what I've got, like how I've got the camera set up, because I didn't realize that I had to go on my phone until last minute. I've got my notes underneath, so I'm just looking at my notes. One really, really cool tool that I think is so painstakingly obvious, but so helpful, is to take a shower. But hear me out, not to take a shower to clean, not to scrub yourself down, but to take a shower to cleanse. Imagine taking a 5-10 minute shower and not focusing on trying to clean yourself. You can do that maybe in the day. You can do this at night, where you take 5-10 minutes to just let the water wash away your worries, the overwhelm, the stress, the concern. The shower will have a very different sensation, and it is 5 minutes where you can spend to yourself guilt-free, and you are able to just calm, regulate your breath, regulate your nervous system, and get yourself back and check in with yourself and get yourself back down to a good, happy level. So take maybe a 5-10 minute shower and make sure you're doing a cleansing shower, but not a shower to necessarily clean. Yes, of course, you can do them both at the same time. However, making it specific to cleansing your mind and your soul is going to be really, really helpful. Okay. I want you to make a decision to deal with overwhelm rather than just ride it. A lot of us, if we're feeling overwhelmed, if life is getting a little bit on top of us, we feel like we might be drowning. We feel like we should just ride it out until it kind of fizzles out. I can tell you from experience with myself and with my clients that this does not help. It prolongs the overwhelm. It prolongs the stress. Again, prolonged stress is detrimental to our long-term and our short-term health, detrimental to our mental health, physical health, and our longevity. Okay, it's detrimental to our hormones as well, our sleep. It's all kind of interlinked, unfortunately. It's like a deep spider web. It's all linked up. So, dealing with overwhelm and taking a moment to sit there and say, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed, is again a very valuable tool. Now, overwhelm is an emotion. It's not a fact. It's not something that is like provable. It's not black or white. It's not something that I've got in my hand, right? I've got a highlighter in my hand. That's provable. That's clear. It's visible. Overwhelm is an emotion. It's a feeling. Now, if you've been around this page long enough, if you've been around me long enough, you'll know that we talk a lot about feelings and how we can shift them to change our state, to change our thoughts, and to change the results that we are seeing. If this is a little bit confusing for you, let me know and just drop me the word webinar, and I will send you the webinar that we did last week. Last week, I did a free hour-long webinar on how to turn all of your shitty and negative thoughts and emotions into positive ones that create results. So just hit me up and just type me a message and say webinar, and I'll send you the link. It's totally free. So overwhelm is an emotion. It is more of a feeling. Okay, it's a sensation in your body. I want you to just, especially if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed at the moment, this is for you guys who are feeling overwhelmed. Take a moment and close your eyes. Where do you feel the overwhelm in your body? I want you to place your hand on that part of your body. Right. So you've pinpointed a place in your body. This is an emotion. Now, what happens with emotions is we can either deal with them and see them through, or we can stuff it down. Guess what typically happens? But yeah, we typically stuff it down. So addressing the fact that overwhelm is just a sensation, it is just a feeling, means that it takes the power out of it and it puts the power back in your hands. So, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And a really good thing to say there is, I have the feeling of overwhelm versus I am overwhelmed. When we say I am an insert, we are creating a label upon ourselves, which is very difficult to disassociate them. For example, depression is a mental health condition. And someone has said to me recently, I am depressed. Okay. If you say, I feel depression, right? And I'm not negating anything to do with depression. I'm not saying that it's not as big or as overwhelming or as powerful as I'm making it out to be. But if you change the wording around it, you're able to kind of like disconnect and disassociate from it, because you then can say, I am feeling depressed, which means that it's almost like short term. It's short time. It can pass. And it gives that almost acknowledgement to the fact that it can pass and it will pass. Whereas if you say, I am a girl, I am someone with blonde hair, right? Okay, arguably this probably isn't blonde anymore. I don't know who I'm kidding. That has created and solidified a label which we are going to grow attached to. So the longer you say, I am overwhelmed, the longer you're going to feel it, because you're going to become attached to that feeling of overwhelm. Similarly, if we are typically always saying that we are busy, and this is something that I'm working on myself, if we're always saying that we're busy or we're stressed, I'm stressed, you're going to create that attachment to the label. So it's going to feel very difficult to separate from. And then when we're not busy or when we're not stressed, we're going to be like, oh my God, what do I do now? Like, I've always been stressed. I've always been busy. And then so typically we end up self-sabotaging ourselves because we are suddenly not this person that we have labeled ourselves to be, that we are. Let me know if this is making sense. Again, I can't see any comments in the chat, guys. So please, if you haven't already, put something in the chat. I can't see anything, so I'm not too sure if I've missed any comments yet. But yeah, if you are here, thank you so much for joining. We've got some more tips to go. Yeah, I can't see anything. I'm assuming that you guys have probably put something in the chat, but like for some reason nothing's coming up. It's really frustrating. Fingers crossed I'm still live. It says I'm live, so that'll do. Okay, so make a decision to deal with overwhelm rather than just ride it. As soon as you address overwhelm, address the feeling, feel the feeling, so feel the sensation wherever it is in your body that you feel it, wherever you can, feel it, sit there, let it pass. But let it pass by itself. Don't stuff it down, don't push it away, let it pass naturally. Once you deal with it, it's easier to go, right, okay, that's done. There's an emotion, done, dusted. Let's crack on with this. The same goes for anger or sadness. If you let an emotion pass naturally without stuffing it down or pushing it away, you're able to get over it and create more progress, create a plan straight away. Much, much faster, much easier to rebound than just stuffing it. And guys, I'll be honest with you, I want you to cut the BS, the stressing and the fluffing, and tackle overwhelm if you are feeling overwhelmed with determination, right? Not from surrender, not, oh my God, I'm feeling overwhelmed, so I'm going to sit here and do nothing. The problem is with overwhelm, we have given ourselves an expectation to do everything at once. And no matter how much you argue with me, being able to do everything at once is going to be impossible. It's not possible. So there's no point in setting ourselves the expectations that we must do everything at the same time or straight away, immediately. Okay. And you probably would say the same to someone else. You'd probably say, hey, you can't do all of that at once. Remove the expectations of yourself and give yourself a little bit of what's the word? Grace, a little bit of ease. So tackle overwhelm with determination, but not by surrendering, by making a decision that you are going to overcome this, as opposed to bowing down and feeling drowned by it. Again, overwhelm is just a feeling. Being stressed is just a feeling. It's not a fact. It's not necessarily an object here. It's just something that you feel. So because it's something that we feel, we get to change that, okay? The fact that this is a pink highlighter, I can't really change that. But the way that I feel about the pink highlighter, I feel like it's a pretty highlighter, or I feel like it's an ugly highlighter. I can change that perception, right? So the overwhelm is the feeling that I have towards it. The overwhelm that you might be feeling might be the feelings and thoughts that you have about your environment and about what's going on for you at the moment, okay? Again, please let me know in the comments if this is making sense. If even anyone's here, let me have a look at the Facebook on my laptop just to see if I'm missing anything, guys. While that's loading, understand what is realistic for you and your weight loss when shit hits the fan. Okay, this is something that I'm having to tackle on the daily with every person that I talk to, even clients who, when things get busy, when things get stressful, they keep the same expectations upon themselves as when they are on top of it, when they're feeling like organized and when they're feeling like they're smashing it. We have the same expectations when everything is getting a bit overwhelming. Okay, so we've got to reduce that expectation. Again, it just goes hand in hand with what you would tell someone else. You can't do all of the things at once. So just start with something. Now, typically, what happens then is our brain kicks in and goes, "Oh my God!" But only doing one or two things is not going to be enough, right? And then we have this perception that it's never going to be enough. Well, not sitting there sitting there and not doing anything because you're overwhelmed is not enough. Absolutely, I agree. But doing one or two things and making headway and making some progress without being overwhelmed is more than enough. Okay, so understand what is realistic. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling drowned out by life, if you need to kind of start delegating and handing things out in your life, what realistically can you achieve this week or this day or this hour? Be realistic. Another top tip for you guys is to rewrite your priority list every weekend. Okay, categorize under immediate, short, and long-term tasks. So when you're feeling stressed, when everything is a little bit chaotic and we need to calm down, typically the way that we would calm down is by using food or alcohol or drugs to numb out. Okay, so obviously these are not good coping mechanisms for us. So we need to figure out another way. Now, just to let you know, your coping mechanism isn't going to change like that because you watched the video. Your coping mechanism, in fact, if you go and sit down and do this task that I'm about to run through and explain, if you go and do that task, it might not even feel like you're actually coping with your stress because you haven't learned that as your new behavior yet. It might the coping side of it might still be connected to the eating. So when we eat, this is when we cope. This is when we like numb out. Okay. So without using food, how do we calm down and regulate ourselves? What I want you to do is write a list of all of the shit you got to do. Everything. Exhaust the piece of paper and the pen. Just completely get it out. Offload, dump, brain dump. I don't want anything left up here. And what you're going to do is categorize it under 3 columns: immediate attention, short term to mid term attention, and long term. Okay, so you've got 3 categories, and now you're just going to offload everything that you've got to do. Everything. The long term, you can basically forget about that until next week. The midterm, you can probably forget about that too until next week. The short term, we're going to put into our calendar. With the short term tasks, you're going to put into your calendar and see which ones you can delegate. How can you give it to someone else? Can you pay someone to sort that thing out for you? There's one thing that I've always said to my partner about or 2 things. I don't want to clean the house and I don't want to clean the car. So eventually we'll get round to it where I will be delegating that task because my time is more valuable to me to be spending it on my business or my own health or even relationships, as in, going to see family and my partner, spending time with my partner. So with this list, what we're doing is we're taking it all out of our minds. We're going to remove all of that need and desire to keep it all up here. Now it's on paper. Now already, if you journal or if you're one of my clients and I've told you to journal before, you already know that writing pen to paper is incredibly useful and helpful for our brains. It doesn't have to store this information because it's now there. It helps offload emotions, it helps us process our own thoughts, and it helps us visually see what we've got to do. When we've got it all stored up here, it's loud, it's noisy, there's so much going on. But when it's on paper, it's so much easier to smash through and organize. So now you've got your tasks. Each week, I want you to rewrite this whole list. Rewrite the whole thing. Now, this is only going to take you about 5-10 minutes. Every week, you're going to rewrite it and you're going to delegate whatever you can. And then on the immediate list, you're going to put that into your calendar. I guarantee you, if you do this every single week and take just 5 minutes, you're going to save yourself so much more time from trying to store everything in your brain and trying to stay on top of everything when you don't actually have a physical list. So one of my clients today, she came to me and she was like, Bianca, I'm feeling so overwhelmed, and she wasn't actually getting much done because she was so overwhelmed. It was just like stressful. It was just like, this black cloud in her head. It didn't open up space or allow her to actually systematically start putting things in place. So we sat down, we walked through her list of things, she categorized them, she crossed off the ones that she could delegate. And then with the ones that were the short term, we put that into the calendar. With them in the calendar, that has you feeling like you've got so much more control. So much more control reduces, almost eliminates the overwhelm, completely eliminates the stress, because you now know what you've got to be doing and when. It's not all of these things that are rolling around in your head like a bag of Skittles. You now have a structure and a system to work by. Now, the problem here is people will often say, well, I don't have the 5 or 10 minutes to sit down and write. But I ask you this. Do you have 5 minutes to sit down and write out a list? Or do you have maybe an entire day or week, couple of days, or even like minimum a couple of hours to waste instead when you're trying to work through a list that isn't written, that isn't structured? And I guarantee you, when things are in your calendar and they're scheduled, you get them done. I know this because all of my clients tell me this. When things are in the calendar and they're written down and they're scheduled, they get done. Things that aren't scheduled, things that aren't written down, don't get done. My client today, after the session, left feeling so much better, a huge sense of relief, right? Yeah, her list was friggin' huge. It was huge. But by the end of it, she had so much more control. She was able to regain control, have a little bit of clarity, have a smile on her face, and feel lighter. And because she was feeling lighter, she was able to get back on to her weight loss tools that we had implemented. So not only is calming down really really important for us to make sure that we've got our vices that aren't deeply rooted in food or alcohol, but it's also important to have someone with you to walk you through that. Okay. Now, if you are really struggling, if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, I have 2 options for you. One, you can join our free challenge on the 21st. We've already got a bunch of people raring to go, already kicked off the group chat. Number 2, you can just send me a message and say chat. What we're going to do, sit down, have a 5-10 minute chat, see if I can help, and then we're going to have another in-depth chat to see how the Regenerate program and my systems can work for you to reduce the stress, to reduce the overwhelm, to guide you step by step, taking the exact steps that you need. Not some generic thing that you can download off of Google or ChatGPT, but to meet you where you're at, to reduce that stress and overwhelm. So you're not trying to push a boulder uphill. So you're not trying to tackle increased cortisol and out of whack hormones because you're so stressed while you're trying to lose weight. If you're stressed, you ain't going to be able to lose weight. Or it will be incredibly difficult to lose weight. Imagine shortcutting your time to your weight loss goals, shortcutting the stress and the overwhelm that it takes to get there. That's exactly what I do, and that's exactly what the Regenerate program is there for. I'm going to clock onto I had another tool, but I think I'm going to leave it there. I think that's plenty today. I'm going to log back in on my computer. Oh, we have 6 comments that I didn't see. Rebecca, yes, making sense. Good to hear. Katie, what about illness? Like, I have X illness. Can you elaborate on that one, Katie? makes sense to me. Rebecca, fantastic. Hello, Sheila. 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you mean? What about illness? Is that like what? I'm sorry, I've only just seen the comments, Katie. What do you mean in terms of I have X illness? What was I talking about? Maybe if you leave it in the comments below, and I'll get around to that in the comments. Just make sure you tag me if you're watching this. Make sure you tag me. Let me know if this has helped, guys. Comment method if you want to join the July's 5-day challenge, or comment chat if you want to have a quick 5-10 minute chat just to see if I can help. Get the ball rolling for yourself, because it's better late than never. Lovely to be here. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, and I will see you next week.